The sound of the bell means we in the championship rounds with the one and only King Amin of Essex, and I always need a good corner man or woman. Need me some help. So I bought Micah K. This is she's I consider her part of the TBV alumni, one of the freshman class, and myself. We graduated together. And so she's on the show to help me out with some of these boxing topics. Please, sis, queen, introduce yourself.
You already know what it is. Listen, it's the Queen Micah K. What up, though? Listen, I'm so happy. I'm appreciative to, be connecting with my boy King Amin. And like he said, listen, it's been such a blessing, just TBV and the connections I've made. So I just love boxing. I love the passion. I love the people I met. I love that I'm getting the opportunity to be on this platform with you. I appreciate it. Don't matter, whether it's big, small, whoever. If you thought about me to even reach out to me, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of it. And listen, you can catch me. You already know. You see the logo in the back. Listen, go to Afternoon Sports Slate on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe. We trying to get to that level, at least get to the monetization level, at least get to that 1,000. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like. Make sure you check out my most recent interviews with Alicia Baumgartner, the champ. Listen, and we got Tony Harrison, Detroit in the building. It's Detroit boxing. The legacy is greatness. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Can't stop, won't stop.
And we talked about a little bit behind the scenes. Alicia Baumgartner, man, a star is born. But we're gonna talk a little bit about stars being born. I don't know if you caught last weekend Bam Rodriguez. You heard of them?
Yes, I caught a little bit of it. Yes.
Okay. What'd you think? What'd you think of just anything? What'd you take away from that fight? From anything about that fight?
So with Bam, the thing that stood out to me instantly was his boxing skill set. Okay, I love the angles. You could tell he takes certain pages out of the Lomachenko book as far as the angling, the movement, the footwork was really nice. Okay, his speed, that jab, the versatility he was doing with the punches. So it's certain things that I saw from Bam. Listen, I was like, okay, he nice. And then he got that, I believe I was on Twitter too. Shakur Stevenson showed him some love, said, listen, he's a problem.
Now, I know footwork because we come from cities where house music is big. So when you see footwork, good footwork, right? And those angles you talked about, that's the thing that amazed me. I say, man, he's just smoking there. And I jumped out the window a little bit and I say, yo, I got him on a pound for pound because he literally moved up the pounds from 108 to 112. I think it was 118 or, from one, he was really making some serious moves against stiff competition. And so, I like that he's getting his flowers. Sometimes when we get these young stars, we like to anoint them. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's still got a bright future. On an undercard of that, though, did you catch Jessica McCaskill?
Yeah, I caught that. I saw she came out extremely aggressive. She was like she was swinging like right out the gate.
Now, Jessica McCaskill, after that fight, she said 147 doesn't interest her. Now, women's boxing, is a passion of mine. And for a lot of people, it's kind of still developing. We're still getting the depth of enough women fighters that we can kind of distinguish which women or which division. Because, sometimes when it's not as notable, we're just naming women fighters, not recognizing them in different divisions. I think we get into that point. So McCaskill at 147, I don't really know who's at 147, but if she happens to stray around, any of the other weights, they talked about her potential. I mean, this has been floated around by Rick Ramos, her trainer or manager, maybe a potential fight with Clarissa Shields at 147 or at 54. Or maybe, McCaskill, since she's always said she's a true 140 pounder, maybe about her going down to fight, meeting at a catch weight with either Alicia Baumgartner, okay, or Michaela Mayer, like the winner of that fight. What do you think about that prospect of women's boxing?
You know what? I'm glad you brought that point out because I was like, well, who would she fight next? Like, who would be that possible? Because I was actually doing a little research and I was like, okay, let me look up. I saw like Mary McGee, if I'm saying that properly.
Shout out to Mary McGee out of Gary, Indiana.
Right, Cecilia. Okay,
Cecilia Breakers. Okay.
Burgess. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Kaylee or
Callie
Callie?
Reese.
Callie. So I was trying to figure out, and you brought up a good point. I don't know. Now I will say this about Jessica: she did do well, but I know going up against an elite fighter,
Yeah.
certain things have to be tightened up. Especially certain punches. I felt like, I know she's the. I'm just somebody that's still learning and doing the analysis as far as things like that, but I saw certain things where I felt like at times she might have to tighten it up in order to go against one of those, once again, elite fighters, especially when you come up against somebody that got really nice power, aggression, and can counterpunch. So I don't know who she would fight next. I saw that. I kind of read in the articles. What you think? Who she would fight? Who she should fight next?
For the love of it, I want the winner of Bumgarner Mayer, or even Mayer, just to see if she's comfortable coming down in weight, and perhaps Mayer maybe would move up. Like I said, they may meet at 140, but the money fight would be Katie Taylor, because she got the Mexican lineage. She's African American and Mexican. I don't know which side. This is McCaskill. I don't know which side she lean on more, but Chicago is that kind of city where they support their fighters, and they got a Mexican constituency. Chicago's got a Mexican constituency. And so that would be a big fight. It would be a rematch as well, because Taylor's already got the win over her. Taylor's kind of, she's on a big upswing after the Serrano fight, but people that was in the building, including myself, you know what I mean? She might have got that favor. That might have been a favor for a favor.
Okay, you was in the building for that
I was
fight?
in the building. I was in the building.
Okay, I should
Women's
pay
boxing.
more attention to your Instagram. Did you post that one?
Girl,
Okay.
You better check my Instagram and stop playing with me. Women's boxing is my thing. I'm trying to learn you.
I love that. Yes. So I got to tap in with you more. So let me ask you a question, because I did think Serrano had the slight edge. Okay, so when you was there, I was like, hold on, I felt like Serrano still won. So you felt that way as well.
Let me tell you something. This one particular video, I'm a man of a few languages. I'm very eloquent, but I had to jump in my Jamaican bag and go full patois. I was screaming for the police because Serrano was beating this girl. New York police, NYPD style, ass whooping, giving it to him. And a lot of the people around me who flew in from Ireland, it was doing a lot of this. Like Biggie said, it's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing, my burger, right? It was sad. It was not this boisterous occasion as though as Taylor had won the fight. It was not that. And so we talk about McCaskill probably watched that same fight through our eyes and said, man, run that shit back, right?
Facts. I'm like, you got to run that back, because like you said, I felt Serrano was dominating. Now, there's certain things at the end, because we know with boxing, it's a lot of politics and so many things. And so that's why, especially when it's your faves, you always want to tell your faves, you got to close it out strong, because you never know it's going to swing the other way. But I completely agree with you. Listen, I got to say a Biggie lyric. You had me hyped. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D. Ooh, Biggie, yes. Even though it's a little for my time, but I love Biggie.
Nah, listen, man. It's speaking of big dreams. I mean, Anthony Joshua, he's back. Big rematch, heavyweight, right? Yep. Heavyweight division. Yes. What do you think about the rematch, Joshua's prospects against a boxer like Usyk, or what do you see in this rematch happening?
I believe AJ could, possibly still get the victory. Yeah. But with AJ at times, one thing I would say, because his trainer is Robert Garcia now. Mm-hmm. So I know what I'm going to be looking at is still again his stamina, how he utilizes his variety of his punches, and also, really to me too, just the willpower, the heart, the aggression. Are you going to really come with it? Do you really want the victory? Because there's certain times where I see with Joshua where I felt like he could have did more in that last fight. Now, we know Usyk is a really good fighter, has a good boxing skill set, nice footwork as well, especially to be a heavyweight, can give it to you in a variety of ways. So, listen, a lot of people say, ain't nothing AJ can't do it, but I believe he could still get the job done.
Something, you mentioned something so poignant just now, because the change in trainers, and AJ just had an interview with Michael Benson, and he was quoted as saying he was in the corner thinking he's Muhammad Ali boxing Usyk's head off, and his corner didn't mention to him that he was down in any of the rounds. This is by his account. So when you mention him having somebody like Robert Garcia, I mean, is all it's going to take is somebody to be honest with you? In a way, are we led to believe that his only deficit in that match was he was misled, or is it that he was so easy to be misled? Like, I know a change of trainer can give a different spark. When a fighter say that, like, oh, y'all ain't tell me I was down, is it up to the corner or is it on you?
That's crazy that you said that. Now, I did not read the full article due to the privacy settings with this article, but I had seen I had seen where it said Robert Garcia, and correct me, maybe you might have seen it. Robert Garcia had mentioned something about Anthony Joshua's mental health. Yep. So that let me know too, before this fight happens, hopefully AJ is really, mental strength is very key. And I'm really big on asking athletes about their mental strength, because we know before, it's not just a lot of people sometimes say, physical, you got to do this and that, but your mind has got to be completely there. This is a mental game when you're talking about an athlete. So hopefully AJ is in the right mind state come this next fight, so he can really get the job done as well too.
We gonna stay on that BIG, Biggie in the heavyweight division, okay? And we're gonna stay on the mind state in that discipline, because now we're gonna talk a little about Andy Ruiz. You see Andy Ruiz lately? You see any pictures of this guy?
Yeah, I've been seeing a little something. He trying to do something. Well, I say he is doing something, okay, but we gotta see though still.
So what you think about him and Luis Ortiz? Now Luis Ortiz, okay, I want to do a little history with you, okay?
Okay.
Luis Ortiz was actually part of the Tuskegee Airmen. That's how old he is, okay? Luis Ortiz got one of them bogus birth certificates. Luis Ortiz about 57 years old. Luis Ortiz was he used to spar with Joe Louis. And I'm joking, but I'm saying, like, what even does Luis Ortiz have left to offer Andy Ruiz? Or is this such a good fight? Because Luis Ortiz, the last thing a fighter loses is power. But is Andy Ruiz even there? I mean, what do you think of this fight?
Okay, so I like the fight because the reason why I like the fight, because I want to see where both of these fighters are at right now at their point of their career. Because with Ruiz, when he fought Chris, okay, listen, Chris gave him the business sometimes with that power.
A lot of times.
Right, that is true. And with Ortiz, though, let me just say this. I had always been a fan of Ortiz, especially, I felt like a lot of people did not give Ortiz the credit he deserved, because he has only lost twice, and it was only to Wilder. Yeah. And I did feel like at times certain heavyweights was, avoiding Ortiz with his power and certain things he could do. So with this fight, I feel like this is going to, tell us where both of they, where the career. Should Ortiz let it go and retire after this one? Is Ruiz really somebody who we thought, because once he had beat AJ that first time, and then even though he lost, he came back and got another opportunity. We trying to see where, like how you were saying too, where Andy Ruiz is at in the game.
And I'm really looking to see excuse me, I'm really looking to see what Andy Ruiz does, because again, I joked about Luis Ortiz, but I think his claim to fame was being durable against Wilder, and then showing that his power is his one trick against somebody like Charles Martin, because Charles Martin was just recently outboxing him, and people did not or don't think highly of Charles Martin, but he's a title holder, although he lost to Anthony Joshua. I mean, come on now. I'm expecting more of Andy Ruiz. And again, I'm looking at Luis Ortiz and saying his only deficit is his age and his durability, whereas Andy Ruiz, and I'm not questioning it because it's not fair grounds, but it can be the splitting hair. That deficit is that mental capacity. Sometimes those fighters, they can't, like, when you spoke to somebody like Tony Harrison, like some people, they don't know how to take a loss and learn from that and keep moving. Some people, it's over for them. So, I mean, and look, moving on to that, we let's talk about Wilder right quick. Let's stay in the heavy.
Right. Hello. Sound went out. Can you hear?
We good?
Okay, now we good.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about Wilder. Let's talk about Wilder because, not question his resiliency because I think he's in a good space. I think this last fight, he was able to go out on his shield the way he wanted to. But there's some rumblings about his coming back. And, I don't want to see him against Ortiz. That's why I'm hoping Andy Ruiz pulls through so maybe he can entice Wilder into a return. What do you think about Wilder's return and or potential matchup with Andy Ruiz?
Listen, I like it, and some people who follow the channel, I'm still a big Wilder fan. Yes, I do. That he's one of my faves, and I feel like you listen. He got that one hit knockout power. Let's see. He went up against somebody like a Tyson Fury, but I've always felt everybody else. I feel like Wilder can get him. Fury is that one guy where you feel like who's that big with that size and can move and can box with that skill set. It was going to be harder. But for Wilder, with his power and just his will to win and his determination, everything he's been through, I truly believe, I feel like he has everybody else's number. Now, Frank Sanchez said he wanted Wilder too. So I feel like, listen, I definitely want Wilder to come back though. Yes, and I would like to see that Wilder, if Ruiz take care of business and look good, yes, set that up. Absolutely.
Frank Sanchez, definitely. I would love to see what he does. He want Wilder because he's thinking to himself, Cuban style, you ain't gonna touch me to land that power. But what we seen with Wilder is even off a glint, like you really almost gotta be Tyson Fury to withstand, you know what I mean? That power. So, I mean, I got him sleeping Usyk. I certainly respectfully got him sleeping Joshua. So it's Wilder right up under Fury. And if he does come back again, but then you got Andy Ruiz. If he can prove that mettle, maybe he's the upset king. Maybe he could potentially do the same thing to Wilder that he did to AJ. Then you have this reputation as, but that's why I would love to see that fight. It's just a lot of intrigue surrounding that.
See, before he fought Chris Arreola, I was so like Ruiz. I'm like, listen, Ruiz is dangerous. He quick to be a heavyweight. How he can box in the inside and outside somewhat. I'm like, okay, he's showing me certain things. But then when I seen that fight and how Chris was tagging him, I'm like, but like you saying, if Ruiz is locked and loaded, and we see a good Ruiz, before he fight Wilder, I feel like, yes, that's the juice. That's the spice. Let's set that up for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I love to see that. Now, this weekend, we don't really got much, but we're gonna have to stay in the heavyweight division because the only thing I'm really paying attention to is Joe Joyce. You familiar with the man Joe Joyce from the UK?
Yes, somewhat. I've seen a couple fights in the highlights.
Yeah, he's in there against Christian Hammer. I don't know. I think Christian Hammer is I'm not trying to, he's from Sweden or Finland or something like that, but he's a pretty durable opponent. I think this is more of a sign because of the promoter that he's with, that's the direction of fights. But remember, he beat Daniel Dubois. So, are you even checking for Joe? I mean, I feel like I'm trying to justify him to you, and you not.
You know
like,
what? I was looking. No, not even that. I'll try to even. When you was talking, I was trying to think. Like, hold on. I was looking at the boxing schedule. I'm like, did I overlook it? Because I was gonna ask you. Like, maybe I didn't look at it correctly. Because I'm like, sometimes I miss it with certain. You know how they had the zone and the top rank, and I be trying to make sure. That's what I, have to do with my research to make sure who was fighting who, but. I'm gonna be honest with you, that it wasn't on my radar like that, but I am familiar with Joe Joyce. I'm familiar with Hammer because he fought Frank Sanchez, right? Yeah, Hammer fought Sanchez. So, my thing is just to see what they looking like, just to see what Joyce, looking like. We know he heavyweight, so he has that power, aggression. He relentless. He'll come at you, especially if he smells blood. So I'm just like, okay, let's see some more of Joe.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. It's a fair assessment of this weekend. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. So who else? Yeah, let me know, King, because I didn't really see too much either. Am I missing out?
No. Anything else? I mean, like it's something from Mexico tomorrow, but you got to be really hardcore. You know what I'm saying? It's that ain't it. That ain't it. I ain't going to walk you down there because I think it's some women's boxers. I think it's like a bantamweight women's championship fight. I might glance at that, but I mean, people have their preferences or they have their biases. you have to be a spectacular fighter. That's why we started off with Bam Rodriguez. You have to be a spectacular fighter at the smaller weights to really attract the eyes, I think, of the casual fan. So, you know, what I've seen, you know, it's a lot of flyweights. You know, these guys might as well respectfully be like horse jockeys. They 98 pounds, 111 pounds.
Oh,
like,
they bite size like me. Oh, yeah, they bite size.
Say respectfully, you know.
Respectfully, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just saying when you said the weight and stuff, I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, they real small. Okay.
And think about that. And so, you know, you might want to watch it, but then you say, nah, you know, I can't pronounce their names, and I can't really see them. Right? Yeah. So you might pass on that, but other than that, it's really nothing else going on. Okay. But I'm gonna have my eye on the Joe Joyce thing. I do appreciate you coming through. I want you to, before we go, I want you to give your information. I know you got some merch and stuff too. I want you to plug that, or where people can get that, or whatever else you have going on. Go ahead and share that with us.
I'm glad you said that too. I definitely need to start plugging my merch. That's because everything is still not set up with the merch. I am selling it in the city. So if you in Detroit, you can definitely holler at me. I'm gonna have it to where it's gonna be like on the website. I'm gonna start posting it on IG once I get it really prepared and ready. But matter of fact, give me one second. One second.
Go ahead. I'll hold it down while, you know, we let people get an exclusive. And this is the thing. Maybe you know, you got.
I'm actually in my office right now, so I can plug it really quickly. So make sure, listen, I'm selling these shirts right here. You had a greatness. You got Slayers and Slayettes. We got some things in store. I promise you guys. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to Afternoon Sports Slay. Once again, let's get them 200 subs. Make sure y'all spreading the word. If you really like my channel, listen, I'm doing this for the love of the game. I know you listen, I got 2 other jobs. So this is really for the love. When I'm telling you this is for the love. So, you know, especially all the men and women, if you support my channel, spread the word. It don't take but a second to get somebody to hit that subscribe, make sure. And what I try to do, even though I'm not the best, I try to return the favor, at least show support when I can. So I got 2 new interviews that just dropped, once again with Alicia Baumgartner, the champ, and then I have Tony Superbad Harrison. They're doing wonderful things in the community in the city of Detroit. He's working with the youth, and I want you guys to be on the lookout. I'm glad you asked me that too, because I had told people about my podcast. I got something in store that I cannot talk about right now. That's why the podcast hasn't came out. So you guys just be patient with me. Listen, the queen working behind the scenes. I'm telling you, I'm coming. You know what Nipsey say? It's a marathon. I always post that bunny rabbit and that turtle. Can't stop, won't stop. It's gonna keep going. I appreciate you. Thank you so much too, King, for having me on.
Nah, listen, this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? We build them brick by brick by brick. And it's, you know, cities, countries, there are no borders when it comes to your passion and what you're willing to contribute to something you love. And so while we do this on the love, we love for anybody that's coming here to share, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a reshare, subscribe to her, subscribe to me. Yes. Even if you don't like my beard, you don't like my hat, whatever you don't like, whatever you like, show some love, ladies and gentlemen. And whatever you do, stay passionate about us. I'm going to take us out with this bell. Go ahead, Mike. Okay. You got something?
And no, I was just going to say, yes, you know I'm going to have you. Once I get certain stuff, especially like even with this, I'm going to have you on for sure. We definitely going to do some other things for sure.
Oh, listen, man. And this becomes exclusive content. Remember, we alumni. So this is just a builder. It's like I gave you a verse. You're going to give me a verse, right?
Thanks.
All right. It's how we going to do this. From Detroit to Newark, New Jersey, Brick City. Salute to each and every one of you out there. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to take us out with the bell.